Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we here with the one and only Mr. Roderick Pullum himself. How you doing today, sir?
Doing good, man. Thanks for having me.
Definitely good to see you, man. Finally getting you here in the studio.
Yeah.
What we like to call the dungeon. You know what I'm saying? I got my guy B. Clark here as well. I got my guy Rakim Al-Jabbar here as well. What's the deal, my brothers?
Yes, sir. Pass the lights up, please.
You know what I'm saying? So we in here on the normal, but we got my guy in here. It's been a minute since we had a man, different studio, different setup, same squad of people, same scenario, man. So how you been, bro?
Been good, man. You know, no complaints. Been busting my ass getting ready for this Sunday for the Next Gen Sound Show. It's been a long time coming.
Right on.
Like when I started it, it was like through my first building a relationship with Club Dada around the time when we was in still on lockdown.
Right.
But we was coming into like that first, we opening up. Remember we was on hardcore lockdown for a long time, then it was like, we open up, and then it was like, psych. Nah,
right.
nigga, y'all niggas shut down.
Yeah.
They shut that
thought
down.
we was done. Get the fuck back in the room. You know what I'm saying? So I did the first one. I didn't even realize it was a year ago in October. I didn't even realize until Facebook memories got to tell me. You know. So I was gonna say this, but I always try to mention Tim Daniels, the former owner of Dada, was he was a close friend.
Definitely.
And he passed away in January
Rest
from
in peace,
COVID.
man.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, man. So, but the reason I bring him up is because we kept in contact solid like the whole lockdown. And long story short, when the pretend reopening was coming up, he was just like, "What ideas you got? Like, let's just put something together." You know what I'm saying? And I had told him this idea a while back, and he was just like, "Just do it." You know what I'm saying? Like, it don't matter if the timing ain't right or the resources ain't good. Like, the timing ain't gonna be right. They could shut us down again. So what are we waiting for? You know? So it was just like throw it together. You know. And but anyways, the intent was to do it monthly. But basically, I didn't get involved with Dada just for myself. The idea was also to bring other promoters in. So I guess my point is I got and spent most of this year being a go-between, being a middleman, helping, bringing other people's like shows and ideas and stuff like that. And then it's like, damn, the year done got away for me to do my own. You know what I'm saying? So, which, I ain't mad. That's on me. You know what I'm saying? But so I was like, I need to get back to the original brand that I was trying to make. Because I come from a lot of different worlds within this city. You know what I'm saying? Like, so depending on who you talking to, they know me for one thing and then know me for the other. Joe Vega, that's my people from like the bottle service scene. From like the club, like the nightclub scene. You know what I'm saying? But dude is one of the best DJs in this city. He's been doing it like 15 years plus. And just to speak on that real quick, one of the things about me, man, that I love, but it's also like it's frustrating. Like it takes years off my life when I say that I existed in all these different communities and different subcultures within the same city, because I exist around a bunch of people that I respect and got love for that don't fucking know each other, or in some cases give a damn about each other one way or the other, and that shit. That's it, and I'm not exaggerating it. Like I think about it every single day, either in a way of like frustration or anger, or how can I. So I always look for different opportunities to blend the worlds that I come from when it's a situation that makes sense, and that it'll go together. Everything ain't go together. You know what I'm saying? Like,
listen, man, you do a great job of it, cause shit. I mean, as far as everything that you've connected us with, everything that you've every direction you've led us has been something that made sense. So it's never been a time where you mentioned some shit and it's like, he led us to some bullshit.
I appreciate that, man. Because there's some people that got good intentions and it's like,
they don't know how to execute.
It's like, they're like, man, this does not go with that, and like pickles do not go with peanut butter. You know what I'm saying?
For real, whoa.
But Joe Vega is a part of me trying to do that, because the bottle service scene that I'm just as deep in as I have been with hip hop. You know?
I gotta go out with you a couple of nights. Man.
See, like,
man, run the city.
I think the pictures be live though, boy. Them pictures be super live.
Send a group text.
The thing is now,
we to pull up factory.
In a way, like, see, I'm not in there all the time like I have been the last few years. Honestly, it's because like hip hop is taking most of my like attention. But I'm so. It don't matter. There's some people in there scene that I ain't seen in forever. It's text away and walk in the door.
I can tell you was tapped into every scene. That's why I always and we'll always defend you when somebody was trying to criticize you when you was writing from the Observer, because you was the only person that I encountered that was fighting for the cream of the crop in every circle across every genre.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But like really basing it off of the talent and going in that building and fighting for them artists. You know what I'm saying?
Man. Yeah.
Gotta appreciate that. And the way you bridging the gap, because I be trying to tell artists that feel like they got a lot of success in Dallas, what I tell them is that none of us, we're not even famous here if you check yourself, right? It's 7 million people in the Metroplex, and 1 million people in this city in this Metroplex do not know who you are.
Right.
You can't say 1 million people would recognize your face when they see you in public. So you need to humble yourself and try to figure out ways to work them different circles at the very least.
Facts. And that's why I fuck with this dude, because of shit like that. And the thing is, people don't understand, specifically in hip hop, they don't understand how to have that perspective and also still be hella confident.
Facts.
This nigga, like, there's nothing about this nigga that's like, there's a difference between being humble and respectful in general.
Right.
But, you know, this nigga,
but that's because
thinking,
they
he great. You know what I'm saying?
Confidence is fake, though. I call it the false ego. They don't really believe that shit. With me, I really believe that shit.
Right.
But I can be logical about my reality.
Right.
With any nigga you place in front of me, I'm going to out-rap that nigga, and we can talk about that fan shit afterwards.
Yeah.
You feel me?
You see what I'm saying? But he understands and gets the perspective about what he said first of all, like, yeah, I know I'm this, but it's 7 million people in this city. Like everybody, you know? And so, like, a lot of times and just touching on that, a lot of times when I would get criticism, especially in the hip hop scene, you know, be like, certain dudes would be like, nah, he gotta know you. You gotta be one of his friends or be in his circle. I'm like, bro, the people you see me embracing in the hip hop scene, like, I just met these niggas. I didn't know them. I didn't go to high school with none of these niggas. I'm from Garland. And I went to Prairie View after that. I was down there for 5 years. I got no ties. I got the least, I put it like this, I got the least amount of neighborhood, teenage, childhood ties in hip hop than I do in all the other scenes that I'm from.
Right.
I ain't no Rakim in fucking high school.
Why do you think that perception is, or people get that misconception in the first place?
Because people, like, specifically, and I'm saying specifically in hip hop, there's criticisms from the other scenes that come in different ways, but this is specifically within the hip hop scene, man. Sometimes people, their egos and their anger like clouds, like their logic and common sense. However, it's also because I'm gonna say they're bullshit. Then I'm gonna say why I understand where some of it comes from. It's because I'm a part of that machine that's looked at as like fixed, which in different ways it is. Because I publicly criticize like the media community that I come from.
Yeah.
And what machine is that specifically you speaking of?
So like, yeah. And so I have to be specific about that also, because a lot of times when they say media, I don't be thinking that like everybody, when I say media, something especially like if you go into like the like street hip hop community, they think about the blogs and stuff like that. So they connect to me.
Completely different.
Exactly.
Completely different.
Exactly.
And see, it took me a long time to make that connection. It was talking to Roderick Rules one time that made me be like, damn, Rod, you got to remember that.
Yeah.
When you saying media, you talking about one thing, they think about another sometimes. So to answer your question, when I say media, or I'll refer to it as like, I'll say like the mainstream publications, whatever, man. You just got to put a tag on it some kind of way. I'm talking about, you know, Dallas Observer, Dallas Morning News, D Magazine, CT.
That nigga said CT. You funny as I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Fort
I had
Worth
to catch up
Weekly.
too. Facts. I had to catch up too. I ain't gonna lie.
You know, Fort Worth Weekly and Star Telegram. That's the media community that I come from, that I've worked in. You know,
Saying that's real media and that bloggers aren't real media.
Nah, definitely not saying.
I was trying to say it. So
That was gonna be my next question.
I had it in my head. I was okay. I do. We all on the same page.
Nah. See, it's like those are traditional.
The OG media.
Traditional traditional journalism publications.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, that other shit's not journalism. No disrespect to nobody. They not journalists.
well, see, some of it is, some of it. It's like, you know what I'm saying? So, for instance, like, I put it like this: if you got a site and everything that's on there is like for pay, it's not journalism.
Right, for sure.
You know.
Yeah.
And there's such a disconnect. That's why I try to watch how I talk about it, because I didn't realize the huge disconnect and how much the understanding of media, how that is the source of a lot of like arguments, beefs, and misunderstanding. Where I'm talking to like some people that might be in the hip hop scene, and I'm getting all this heat and aggression, and I'm not understanding that they are connecting me with other media types where that's not right.
Yeah.
And then it's hard to go break it down. And then if you try to break it down, niggas think you trying to be like, nigga, you think you know what I'm saying?
You're
smart.
gonna play that card on you.
Yeah.
So.
All real quick.
You smarter than trying to act like oh, Mr. Know-it-all
Smart ass
motherfucker.
nigga.
Like, it's like, nah, bro. Like, I'm trying, because I'm struggling with how to communicate. So you have like
I feel like that's why people gotta enforce definitions. Like, it's so many lines blurred because we want to change these definitions. A journalist is a journalist, bro.
Right.
If you're not reviewing something and writing about it from your own perspective and posting that for people to see,
Exactly.
nigga, you ain't no motherfucking journalist.
Right. And see, and I'll make this generic statement, but it applies to a lot of these like beefs and disagreements. The problem is most humans don't have any respect or reverence, or enough respect and reverence for another person's craft that they're not involved in.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, the rapper don't always respect the journalist. The party promoter doesn't always respect the DJ.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, then everybody like doesn't like respect like the doctor and so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? So we just kind of look flippantly at like, man, they just don't, you know what I'm saying? With this, I call it shoulder shrugging. You know, like, man, you know, niggas just rap. Like, for people who don't have an understanding or respect for hip hop, they're just saying words.
Yeah.
It's not like,
Letting that shit fly.
they just do all of this shit. Like, people who had that type of demeanor, bro, like, nah, whatever, Rock Hill, that shit, they'll be running me hot. Like, bro, don't be giving me your fucking shoulder shrugging, man, you know?
I think it's because they don't have that for themselves, though. I think anybody who truly do can, when you see it, how I feel personally, when you see it, you can respect it.
Yeah.
And I'm at a point now where my friends that come to me just talking about something that I know that they don't have that, especially if it's rap. Mm-hmm. If I know you and you be like, yo, bro, I want to get in the studio, bro, you ain't no rapper, bro.
Right. You know.
You know what I'm saying? Leave it alone, because it ain't, you don't even have that about yourself. You need
see,
to find whatever that is for you, and then you can understand.
And see, and I think that's how it should be. And I think there are a lot of talented people, but there's talented people out there that I know they're masters at their craft, and they don't have reverence or respect for what other people do.
That's crazy. That's
You know, and the only reason, like, and there's certain things where it's like, I know that to be a fact just simply because a good chunk of my life has been dedicated to just walking around, just talking to so many people, and I see that as a problem all the time. So, like,
what you think causes that?
I think it's tribalism and ego, and not even just talking about ethnicity, just whatever group you fall into. So, for instance, even within, because I just see it as a repeating cycle, it breaks down even in journalism. So when you look at traditional trained journalists and people who work in that field, a lot of times there's not equal respect from the writer to the photographer.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? Because, and what that the roots of that is, the roots of that is practical, because journalism and writing or whatever, that goes back to griots, and when we had to keep record of things like verbally, you know what I'm saying? And then verbal goes to written. Then written now is able to be made available on a somewhat more wider label. Okay, now more literacy, and you got printing press. So now it's, you know what I'm saying? So the written word has been king forever. Not forever, for a long time in terms of spreading knowledge and stories, right? So who's the people that put that pen to paper? The writers. So the writer, in terms of their importance to the world and society, has had a longer run than a photographer, simply because of technology. So I say all that to say that when it comes to journalism, newspaper journalism, the story is what matters. You get a couple of shots to support it. You feel me? If you go way back or whatever, I don't know when the first photograph was ever used in a newspaper, but that photograph, it wasn't like, oh, hell yeah, photographer, man, they did their thing. That photograph, its purpose, its sole purpose was to support the written word. You know what I'm saying? So it's the writer, and what they put is the main thing, and that image just gives it a little backup. That is the purpose of when you see pictures in newspapers. It's strictly having that image to support that story. Right. Now we know that photography has progressed and it's more important, but because it comes from those roots, that mentality is still there.
So writers feel like they ain't got to respect photographers naturally.
When it happens, that is why, and I don't even know if some of them are aware that that's the roots of it.
Yeah.
You feel me? So just breaking it down like that. That's why a lot of times when you have publications that the editorial staff or who runs it is print oriented, they suck with the images they use. You know what I'm saying? Like there's been times where I've suggested or whatever, hey, like how about using a few more pictures in the story? And it's just, it can't, for people who are writers and they are just that closed-minded writer, they don't always see the value, the point, or the time, or they think adding 2 more pictures is gonna fuck up the flow of reading the story. And I'm like, oh man, like it can benefit it if you use a balance. But that's what I'm saying. People get in their roles, they have their social circles, they have their status, they achieve those things, and that shit becomes addicting, and it causes you to not have respect for another person's craft. Right. The other person who does this. The fucking hip hop artist that has no respect for the manager. You know what I'm saying? Or doesn't, that's where not having respect for other people's craft and their job and their talent, that's where being ingrates come from. You know what I'm saying? Because they just like.
But it's crazy because you disrespecting people that you need to be successful.
Exactly.
Everybody needs it,
bro. That's why I say
that
like
shit don't make sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, hold up.
And that's what I'm saying, man. Like everybody got their flaws or whatever, but like the stuff we're talking about, this is what I get up every day in certain points that like drives me insane. A lot of times when I say, oh, I'm fighting for this, or I'm fighting for that, all I'm really saying is I'm fighting for people to have mutual respect for one another. You know.
Why do you care so much?
Damn. That's a good ass question, man. Like, I would say, all right. The only explanation I could get, and I didn't know about this, like I've only learned about this like the last like 2 or 3 years, what the definition of what an empath is. Mm-hmm. I didn't know shit about that, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But I definitely am that to like extreme levels sometimes. Mm-hmm. You know?
I can see that.
And I think that's what drives it. And like I said, everybody got they flaws. I definitely got plenty of them. You know what I'm saying? But the one thing that nobody can ever say is that he's selfish. He don't give a fuck. He's just worried about himself. Like nobody can ever say that I don't care or that I'm not loyal. You know what I'm saying? And that is not an active choice I make to be that way.
Oh, you loyal to a fault.
I genuinely give a damn about. I can answer it like this, man. For whatever reason, I genuinely have a concern, a desire to see as many people be the best version of themselves that they can be, or fulfill or experience their talents to the highest level, whatever that is. Likewise, but I think that I always tell people, like, you got to know your superpowers. Everybody got one or multiple.
Sure.
That's one of mine.
What's one of yours?
Is being somebody who I know how to elevate. You know what I'm saying? I know how to. My superpower is I don't give a damn what it is. Like, you could throw out any idea that you have, and if you're like serious about it, and I can see like that you have like passion or put some thought into it, I can add something right now that's gonna be helpful.
Word.
Or connect you with somebody that's gonna be helpful. And I genuinely will, like, it would be like a OCD thing bothering me if I didn't give that.
You know what I think? I think you should go learn how to be a little selfish. It's gonna benefit.
Have you ever thought about that? Being selfish?
Benefit you greatly.
Yeah, there's certain. I think you're right. Sometimes I'll stray away from saying it like that because everybody and their mama, bro. Everybody.
Is even a good term? Should we say just putting yourself first instead of saying selfish? Because selfish can mean so many.
You know what I'm saying? But
That's
the mean. We say the same
that's what
thing.
it means. Yeah.
I'm just saying, trying to make it smoother.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I just like everybody you see, whether it's in person or on social media, everybody thinks that they give too much to others. Everybody,
no. I do not. I intentionally do not give too much to others.
Yeah. I guess I shouldn't say everybody, but that's like the common. That's like the common theme.
Yeah.
So what I mean,
it is, but it don't need. It's but for people, for you specifically, because I'm gonna tell you this. I tell people that I love. You know what I'm saying, to their face. I don't give a fuck about your life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it don't mean I don't love you and that I don't care about you and I won't do nothing for you.
Right.
What I can't do is waste my energy worrying about and trying to help you. I just need to figure out how to help myself.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't give a fuck.
Right. And if Matrix, you know what I'm saying? You can't help a nigga that don't want to be helped. You know what I'm saying? And then too, what I had to learn over time is you better off helping yourself, especially how I look at myself. What people respect more is seeing it though.
Yeah,
you can say that shit all day, but if you
talk that shit all
live
day,
in that example, then a nigga be willing to follow you. That's what I had to learn. That was the last thing I had to learn about being a leader. How you truly got to lead by example. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you own the store and you come in the store every morning and you sweep and mop that motherfucker yourself, everybody that worked there is finna be on point. You know what I'm saying? Because it's gonna be a different level of respect, and they're gonna be following you truly. They're gonna believe in what you're saying, and then now those group of people are in a position to truly build something. Outside of that, you wasted your energy on a motherfucker that don't deserve it. You try and bless a nigga with your superpower, and you could be super saiyan your motherfucking self.
Yeah, and I definitely.
What?
Oh, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good. I definitely, man, agree with that. Like I say, it's hard for me to say that like publicly because it's like, yeah, I do need to take more time for myself. Because like
Shit,
that, like
2021.
Everybody try, but it's real. It's real. You know what I'm saying?
You can say that.
And they probably need to do it too, though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
They
saying?
probably need to hear that shit.
I definitely know, man. Without going into detail on this, I definitely know that there's, recent situations where I would have been better served spreading like my resources out as opposed to having them concentrated in certain people in certain areas.
Yeah, you need to concentrate.
You know what I'm saying?
Yourself.
So like for instance, there's certain people that I brokered or set up a lot of shit for because I'm like, I'm gonna make like this a project. When really, like these 10 things I set up or favors or whatever would have served me better if I spread them to 5 different people. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to what I've been doing, you know, recently. But like I say, man, I genuinely can't, like my part of me feeling like I'm a success has to do with were you able to build success for other people, and that I can't turn that off at all, and I'm like that through and through. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Now there's ways that I can still do that, but look out for number one better. For sure. But and it doesn't even just extend to just the nightlife and music, man. Like in the corporate world that I exist in, like all the damn day jobs that I have, there's plenty of people that be like, oh yeah, man, he mentored me. Oh yeah, he referred me up there. Like one of my homegirls, she's like at a job that she's done nothing but do this. That at first she turned it down when I tried to refer her up there. I was like, oh, okay, you go ahead. You out there doing your thing and traveling, cool. And then she was like, I want it. But she was bullshitting. I filled out her application.
Oh, damn.
You know? So like for instance, any job I'm at, if I'm there and I leave and I can't say I mentored somebody or I helped this person get through a rough patch or I referred somebody that I knew was a perfect fit, I leave there regardless of how much money I made or regardless of how many promotions or whatever I got. I will leave that situation not feeling like I succeeded. If I've been at the Observer or whatever, however many years, and I couldn't count that, you know, I mentored somebody through this, or I referred somebody for that, or I helped bring this writer or that, because that's the people who raised and groomed me. That's how they were, and they demanded it. They demanded that if you take this help and this teaching that I'm giving you, God damn it, you better go out into the world and do that, or I'm gonna have words with you. Because how the fuck you gonna take resources and knowledge and for people and then be like, okay, cool, and just go do for self? And I can honestly say that not that I expect or whatever for people to do it like on a level that I do, but I, like for instance, you know, when people be like, oh, he only covered his friends, like, nah, man, I end up clicking and building relationships with people that I see are like-minded. That's why, like, I'm cool with Rakim. Because when he started coming up,
that's natural though.
That's what I'm saying. It's just when his momentum started building, he didn't just be like, all right, yeah, it's the motherfucking Rakim show and this bitch, I'm doing an hour set. Yeah. I'm just about to eat this mic, and I got my little homie over there. He gonna do like 2 verses. Hey, little homie, get on the mic. All right, like 2 verses. All right, get the fuck out. Now it's back to Rakim.
Yeah.
He brings 3-4 acts. Mm-hmm. Refers. Hey, you know, I'm like, who else is hot right now? Oh, Flower Child, this person, that person. See, people don't understand, like, when as I gradually go through and I interview an artist or whatever, I then lean on those artists, like, who else is hot? Right. I've done that with Rakim plenty of times.
Yeah, you're supposed to
do
that.
You know what I'm saying?
I tell rappers that all the time. I say people name behind closed doors, and motherfucker ask me, and motherfucker never say my name.
Right. All the time. All the time. And I can
about that though.
Yeah, and see,
I understand how we all win from working together. That shit's simple to me.
Exactly, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
And that's common sense to me. Like, I don't care like how many ups or downs or how many people. Even if I came in the room and I'm like, fuck this, I ain't doing this no more, I will, because that's how I'm wired, man. Yeah. That's how I was raised. That's how my journalism mentors, the people that taught me, that's what was instilled in me even before that. That's how my parents were. My parents were the parents who, if the kid playing basketball and got holy shoes or whatever, they're gonna, in a subtle, respectful way, find a way to get them a couple pair. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a specific story. That's a real story.
Y'all at when I was
like, you know what I'm saying? Like growing up playing like you know, whatever, like youth league basketball and shit like that. You know, you'll have one organization, but it might be 5 teams within it. Yeah. You know, see, one kid is literally slipping and stuff or whatever because they make sure they get them a pair. My house is the house that I have friends that I might not have seen in years, but they stop by to see my parents.
Right, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They know, you know, I've had friends from high school working an overnight shift, like just need somewhere to crash. They know they can go see Mr. Pullum, Mr. and Mrs. Pullum.
Facts. You gotta have that community aspect.
So that's where I come from. If I am only here because of that, why the fuck would I not want to do that? And I only feel like a success if I've been able to pay that forward. Right. And like I say, man, as much as I'm about like whatever people working together and want to see people do the best, I'm a real cynical ass person. I'm a type of person that's like, oh yeah, you got to speak out and fight the fight, but shit is really never going to change. Right. But in order to keep the balance, of the world the way it is, you got to have that resistance or that push or that goodwill. However, I know human nature to be what it is sometimes, man, and it's not a pretty thing. But I think you still have to go out into the world. It's that, like, some cliches are like, might be cliche or corny, but it's real. Like, be the change you want to see.
Yes.
You know, be the fucking change you want to see in the world. That sounds so simple, but it's real. You know.
So what's on the horizon for you now, my brother? Like, I know and we're speaking in past tense as far as the observer is concerned. If I'm not, don't let me misstate anything, but
I would say that, you know, publicly, I put it like this: I'm going to be doing more work that's like not involved with them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I gotta leave it at that. Leave it at that for now, man. You know, but there's certain things to certain people that I've given a lot to, man. And I gotta mix it up. There's certain people and certain things and certain institutions that I'm not gonna be able to give, because I know the intensity and the high level of give a fuck that I bring to the table. If I got love for you and I'm in your corner, you have a harder time finding a better ally or a better advocate, you know. So I'm still gonna always remain that way, but probably putting it in different areas. I will be, you know, finally starting my own like online publication.
That was
gonna
be my next question. Like, what about starting your own publication?
So that's been, you know, something I like should have done a long time ago, and I don't know if you want to call it a blog publication, whatever. A lot of time by me saying online publication, that's part of me trying to make that distinction from like just another. It's not just a media platform. Yeah, it's going to be, so first is going to be called the Fix 360. The Fix 360, 2 X's. Fix 360. So like a lot of the people that I've talked to about it, they're like, so like, what? That's a weird ass name, you know. But honestly, man,
where you get the 360 from?
It just has, so like how I've covered everything in this city.
Sure.
You know, it's like, it's one of those things that it's like an immediate connect. It sounds like it might be something deep behind it, but it's like, no, just like when I started like, I didn't start out doing one thing, then progress. When I started, I covered the bottle service scene. I covered the comeback of Deep Ellum. I covered hip hop. I covered the indie rock scene. I covered the local EDM scene. Yeah. I done been to like damn near every Lights All Night and covered it.
Is it time for us to have an R.I.P. Deep Ellum party?
Nah, never. Okay. And I'll speak to that. So, but yeah, the Fix 360 is called that simply because the other meaning of the fix has multiple reasons. I mean, multiple definitions, but it's like, you know, adjusting or fixing things that I see is wrong. You know, giving people a dose, people who like love what I've contributed or whatever, but hate the fact that it comes in spurts. Like, there's a fix for that. This is going to be a representation of me on a consistent basis. You know, on a deeper, like more intense level, it's going to be about trying to fix certain bullshit that I've experienced and dealt with, like working in the local media. So that's why it's called the Fix. 360 is just me.
Full circle. Like,
and everybody's going like every scene or whatever that I've covered or I'm a part of, don't have to like each other, but like everybody's going to see each other. Yeah. and then y'all can do with it whatever the hell you want.
Yeah.
There's certain scenes and communities within the hip hop scene that I don't like our level of respect for other groups. So like everybody's gonna have to be confronted. Like if you got love for me and you like the work I do, you're gonna have to see Roderick covering LGBTQ shit.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have to see a column that I write that might not be about like traditional religion. You're gonna have to see something I might say about media members within the publications that I've worked in, calling them out on shit. Why? Because it needs to happen. Why are they gonna spaz out about it? Because they never have to hear it. Because they exist in insulated circles where they don't have to. You know, like it's speaking about like, for instance, the reason why I was bringing up Joe Vega before is because, bro, there's all these amazing DJs that I know I'm familiar with from the bottle service scene that have got like little to no recognition amongst the publications I work in because that scene and that crowd was always demonized within the media outlets I work for. If you were into like the bottle service and the champagne popping and the EDM, all of that type of shit. See, that's like back in the day when like Plush and a lot of these places that's in Deep Ellum now that's popping. Like people don't know the owners or whatever. They're from that community. Like Steer and spots like that. That's awesome. That's my people awesome them who used to own Zook and used to run Access Dallas and Purgatory.
Damn.
That's where Awesome's from. So here's my thing. A lot of times in conversations, I'll be wanting to go deep. I'm like, oh man, they don't even know that the owner, of Stir, that's awesome, man. He made his name, but he's the dude, one of the promoters that was behind Purgatory. People don't know those connections, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so in my head, that type of stuff is always swirling around. I just want for everybody to be aware of the passion, the hard work, and the talents of one another. And I have so much of that's why I'll be like going on and on and on, because I'll be thinking about like 10 different areas and people that I'm trying, you know what I'm saying? So like in the local media outlets, when I first started, I wasn't taken seriously because it's like, oh, that's just the dude that covers all those douchebag parties.
Oh my God, yeah.
And covers all and I've always covered like the burlesque scene and the goth scene and all of that type stuff. And it was just written off like I was not taken seriously as a journalist or whatever because one, they didn't know I had that other skill set. And two, yeah, it was looked at like, that's just a dude that covers all the douchebag part. And I knew that was the case. Like I picked up on those vibes, but like I had it verbally confirmed.
Damn.
From like after years, had it verbally confirmed from a couple of people, including the dude at, dude at CT.
Yeah.
Straight up, like, cause straight
I
up.
got real beef.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what, so.
Y'all gonna fight? We can set up a boxing match.
I challenge him to so the ticket, the sports station,
Yeah.
the ticket, they do a thing every year called Fight Night.
Yeah.
And somebody was like, "Hey, can we get a Dallas Observer versus CT?" I was like, "I'm down. What's up?" And then that goes unanswered. That was years ago. Yeah. but real talk. So Joe, damn man. I'll be going on, man. It's good I don't have like kids because they be like, oh fuck that. It's about to tell the story, man. But it's just like Joe Vega comes from that community that has never really broadly been celebrated in the publications and stuff I work for because certain people, especially with DJs, had to be in this insulated group. So they don't know Joe Vega, they don't know DJ Rev, they don't know or certain people they do know like Willie Trimmer, but he don't get the same love that like a Blake or a Sober gets. And no knock to Sober, fuck Blake, but no knock to Sober. But there are two DJs that they're not the only ones, man. It's just that in the community
I don't think their menaces have ever even been recognized by any publication in Dallas today. to me right there, you know what I'm saying? That just tells you that they never get it right.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's just been a lot that I've seen over the year, bro. Like going into this year, like I mean, I started working like at the Observer. I started doing this shit in 2009. 2009, bro. It's 2021 now. I know, like I say, I know what I'll be honest with people about what my flaws are, and I know and I'm confident about what my strengths are. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I've never said that I'm the best anything. There's plenty of photographers I've met over the years that are like Carlo and Mike Brooks. And, you know what I'm saying? Those two dudes are goats, you know, in terms of just in general, in terms of what me and them, we've all covered similar things, you know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, there's other photographers that I've thought that are better. There's other writers, Rodney Blue. I just wish he wrote more. You know what I'm saying? Tons of writers. I could name plenty that I think and consider better. But just on those two things, there's not another me ever. There's not another me. There's nobody that is comparable to what I've done. Yeah. Period. In terms of the quality and quantity involved. So if you got writing and photography and has literally covered everybody. Nobody else. The person that I think would have been closest would have been Michael Galicia. You know, there's another guy named Daniel Roderick that worked for the Observer, but they haven't done it. You know, he transitioned. Daniel transitioned more to teaching. Michael, stepped out after like a 3-4 year run. Yeah. But I think he's so, like, it genuinely, in terms of what we're talking about, it genuinely frustrates me that he did his thing at such a high level for that period of time, man. Like, who talks about him now? If you don't show people the love they deserve, or you don't give them credit, or you don't try to elevate their contributions and talents, it loses permanence. I hate seeing that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, yeah, man, there's just a lot of people, just getting back to the point, because of within the local media, certain like cliques and this certain dogma of like what's cool and what's important and what isn't or whatever. There's like tons of people that's done fell through the cracks and not got the recognition that they should. Right. You know, so I plan on in whatever way I can. That's something I want to try to change with my own publication, and that's going to go live on Monday. On the Monday after the event. Yeah, you know.
That's when your site going live. Okay, that's what's up.
Yeah, man. So, and it's gonna, you know, it's gonna be like in simple form, but I'll be able to cover things that they say, like, you know, create at the speed of thought. I'll be able to cover things that if I hear you send me a track, I can write a couple paragraphs, throw it up there
in real time.
Because the other thing people don't know is and this is necessary, but it's not just as simple as, you know, I go to the show and I wrote something like there's seeing an artist or seeing a show or something that you feel needs coverage as a writer, then you still gotta pitch it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You know, and I might complain about it, but that element of real journalism is what's necessary. Tell me why this shit is important. Right. That's why I have a hard time talking to, like, I don't like when certain people are real generic, or they give like general. No, man, he ain't never helped nobody. Specifically, what the fuck what are you talking about, bro? Yeah. Right. What do you mean he didn't help nobody? I saw him do this. What's your counter? Nah, bro, he ain't, you know, that shit. Like when people communicate like that, and you have to deal with that a lot in our community. That's why it drives me hot, because present this shit to me like I gotta present the article to my editor that you want me to write.
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
Where it's like, why is it relevant? What have they done? It's like, and there's no, it either is or it isn't. There's no,
no, ain't no gray area.
Yeah, there's no way to go over that, you know. So, but yeah, it'll give me the ability to where I can bypass that process, and the filtering is going to be something that I do, you know. So but yeah, man, it's been. There's certain things, like I told you, there's a whole bunch of shit that I've covered that's important to me that the hip hop scene don't know about, you know.
Right.
So everybody's gonna have to see it, and I know it's gonna be some.
Take us to the clubs with the bottle service.
Run us through that, man.
Where we at?
Can't make it.
Where we at?
Introduce me, please.
What's the name of the website again? Plug it one more time.
The Fix 360.
You said it's dropping when?
It's gonna drop on Monday the 25th. Yeah.
And also let people know where they can find you, man. I know they
Yeah. So, social media right now at the RJP 360. So the THE RJP 360. Yeah, gotcha. That's Instagram. I finally set up a TikTok. I ain't put nothing on there yet.
Yeah. Same here.
And Twitter, but we got to.
Facts.
Got to, because
I
of
did
what
one
else.
post. I did one post. You know what I'm saying, to try it out.
I be forgetting I got there, but I got there.
Yeah, man.
I posted today, matter of fact.
But yeah, man. That's what I'm working on. There's also other publications that I'm still going to freelance for, but yeah, more than likely, it's not going to be the same ones that you've seen, you know, in the past, you know. So
listen, more room for growth, more room for expansion, ownership, doing shit yourself, starting your own shit.
And one thing I can say is that, and I won't lay everything out, but some of the things that I've talked to y'all about, and talked to George and Z Star about,
shout out to them, man.
Having to do with new media and new progressive ways to present stories and things of that nature. That's another reason why I'm excited to, you know, be starting my own publication, because I can easily just implement these things.
Right.
Like y'all know, when I'll say one thing. You know, I was talking about how people who are based in writing don't always have a good understanding or appreciation for the visual aspect of it.
Right.
And people always talk about journalism falling off because of, you know, the internet, and just same thing people used to talk about with music. I'm like, y'all, we live within this world. New technology is always going to come, and it's always going to advance, and always going to change things. That shit is not new.
Right.
It's new right now.
It's that is the progression of life. We ain't still riding in horse and carriages.
Right.
Fucking Model T came out. Got to get you a Ford now. Like, you know, think about, like, so my point is, there's other ways to monetize stories.
Thanks.
And different ways to present within the present stories and whatnot within the you know, things that are at our disposal, tools that are at our disposal now that are new. But how many mainstream publications were at the forefront of trying to do that? They don't. Journalism has struggled, yes, because of certain aspects of technology and whatnot, but that's the scapegoat to me. Journalism has suffered in terms of being able to survive and monetize because of reactive and elitist leadership. Reactive leadership, and having like a know-it-all mentality about, you know, it's the same reason why the labels, the major record labels, fell off. You know, now they getting it, but they get it because they had to start embracing new technology, and it's the same thing in journalism. Nobody ever talks about that. There's a certain level of arrogance that's present sometimes. And I think it's not just journalism, but that's what we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? There's a certain level of that I don't think gets addressed. And there's just different ways they could go about you know, making revenue? Like, who do you see? What major local publications, you know, utilize I'll just say other platforms to make money, to build a bigger audience, and like, so a lot for what we've been talking about. Whenever I say CT, I'm referring to Central Track, right? And when I might be having debates with people at, you know, other publications I've worked for, and saying why I think things that their leader does is problematic, a lot of times they'll go and be like, look, yeah, that's true, but they only do these numbers online. Look at us. Like the Observer does, like, I want to make a number, I think it's like 1 million, some crazy hits a month. Damn. And oh boy, one time was celebrating that after several years they hit like 1 million hits. And people within the mainstream publications was like laughing at that. I'm like, I'm knocking them for other stuff. I'm knocking them at that. 1 million hits, he's been in business. Like, I respect that. Yeah, for sure. But what they don't understand, so they'll think like, we don't have to address that because we're this and he and they are that. Yeah. That's a big mistake. That's a huge mistake. Fuck your 10 million hits. Where are they coming from? Yeah. What's your growth? Are those 10 million just grandfathered in? And what's the demographics of those 10 million? Is that the youth? Or is that just Joe Blow spread out in throughout DFW or whatever, that they just kind of go back and read you just because that's what they've always done? Do you got those numbers? Have you done those analytics?
That's definitely what it would look like too.
Who is his 10 million? I mean, who is his 1 million? Is that 1 million? Is half of that 1 million really fucking influential? Yeah. And your 5 million or your 10 million are nobody? Not saying it in a bad way. What I'm saying, are they nobody relevant to the industry? Yeah. Do you know those numbers? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So they'll look at things that way, and I'm like, that's how you fall off. That's how you have to lay off half your staff because of that not having vision. Yeah. You know.
Definitely a lot to unpack there, man. We definitely appreciate you bringing it to the table, though, my brother. Tap in, so anytime, you know, you want to come through and chop it up or whatever you want to do, you know, you always good up here. So
for sure.
Definitely appreciate the opportunity, man, and, you know, y'all take care out there. All over media. Rakim Al-Jabbar, Ayo Clark, Roderick, Pullum, Caution. We out.
Hey, you.